Hi everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Knitting with Clouds. My name is Anne. You can find me on Ravelry as knittingwclouds. If you're interested, there's also a Ravelry group there. I'll put the link in the description box. Well, thanks for joining me today everyone. Let's start with some news and updates. So, this is going to be posted on the 2nd of March, I think, this video. However, I will be out of town, and because of that, there won't be any other videos posted for the rest of March. I would really like to post regularly, however, it's just not possible in this case, so after this video, I will see you in April. I've been really busy the past month, so I haven't been able to knit that much. I actually haven't been to my knitting group in a while, which is part of the reason why I started this podcast, since I'm not always able to go to my knitting group. I can talk to you guys and sort of build a community that way. So last month, since this is in March, last month was my birthday month, and in addition to that, I realized that for the last episode, some of the things I was going to show you at the end was cut off. The Christmas presents that I was showing, that was from Camilla and one of my friends, that part got a bit cut off, so I want to show you guys that again, and some of the presents that I got for my birthday as well. So that will be at the end of the episode. If you're not interested in seeing that, you can just stop the video after stash, and if you are interested in seeing what I got, you can continue watching until the end of the video. Well, let's get started on whips. My first work in progress is something you've seen so many times before. It's my Link Hyrule Warrior scarf. I know it looks like I'm almost at the end because there are only so many more stitches on the needle and I'm doing decreases. But the thing is, I tried it on and I don't think I'm happy with it because it's not quite long enough this way, and it's definitely not wide enough this way. If it was being made for a child, I would say that this is an appropriate size, but it's not. It's being made for a full-grown adult. So I'm going to be, as much as I hate to say it, I'm going to be ripping back again. Since the last time I recorded, I have ripped back 3 more times, so that brings the total up to 8, I think. And for those of you who have knit shawls before, you know that shawls can actually take a pretty long time. So, you know, multiply by, sorry, the yarn's getting caught on my chair. So, you know, multiply that by 8 for just one project, and I think you'd understand how frustrating it is. But yeah, like I was saying, if I had just done this much the first time, I would have been able to, you know, have a better idea of what I needed to fix. Like, oh, I don't think I increased enough, or it's too short, or it's too long. And by the way, speaking of short, this is too short. If I continue decreasing at the rate that I am, this end is going to end somewhere around this part of my neck. So instead of meeting in the back, in the middle of the back of my neck, like it should, this would be something more like this. which is completely ridiculous and not what I want. So, that's something else that I had to fix. But because I did go this far, I do know that I have to fix that. So I can keep that in mind, and then fix all the things that I think need to be fixed, and not have to rip back so many times. Another thing that I could have done differently was also related to courage or something of that sort. I'm not really sure what, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time, but before, I blocked this kerchief section. I don't remember if I said that. I blocked this kerchief section, and before I blocked it, it was actually doing this curling thing where it made like this sort of little pouch, sort of like this, at the bottom of the kerchief section. And I was just wondering if it was going to stay like that, or if it would block out, or if there would be extra material and it just wouldn't look good. I just had no idea, and for some reason I just did not want to try it out and actually block it like I have now. The reason why I did block it was I actually have a friend that I sometimes see in person, and I asked her, you know, I've got this problem, what do you think will happen with it? How can I fix it? And she said, well, it'll probably block out. So after she said that, I came back home and blocked it, and it turned out pretty good. But you know, if I had been brave enough myself in the first place, I wouldn't have to ask her. I wouldn't have had to ask her at all. So I'm going to try to keep that in mind, and it's something that I had forgotten because I've run into this before, not anything as complicated as this, but when I first started knitting, I knit the Daphne scarf that Camilla showed last week, and that has a repeating pattern in it. It's supposed to be a leaf on, I guess, a vine. Of course, it was my first time knitting. I basically had no idea what I was doing, and I would, you know, try to follow along the pattern, and at first I messed up and the leaf looked a little wonky. And then I thought I figured out what I was doing wrong, so I kept on knitting. But then I would get to about, you know, 3/4 of the way through the repeating pattern, and I would just look at it and I would think, you know, what if I'm doing it wrong? And just, you know, what if? And I get to the end of the scarf and I notice this mistake, and I've been doing this mistake over and over, and I would just feel like I had to rip back and try it again just so I wouldn't have to put in that effort, like redo the entire effort or waste my effort if I did make a mistake. And it turns out that I wasn't making a mistake in the end. After I figured things out a little bit more, I realized that I was doing it correctly, but again, I was wasting time by ripping back over and over. So I'm going to try to keep that in mind for future projects. But I'm sure that even if I don't, I will run into another project that will remind me of it. Sorry. Alright, so the next work in progress is also something you have seen before. Like I said, I've been pretty busy with work and getting sick and all of that fun stuff. I haven't really been able to work on or completely finish a lot of projects. So there isn't that much new to show you this time. And I think you're going to recognize this one because I think the last time that I showed you was basically about in the same place. This is the Mantilla doily by Coats Design. This is my 5th doily. or fifth smaller doily, I am going to be ending this, binding off before the actual end of the pattern to make this into a smaller doily, more appropriate for teacups or something of that sort, because the doily in its full size is, I don't know, maybe I can't quite remember, but I would say from 7 to 12 inches across diameter. So I have finished 2 doilies, I think, since the last time I spoke to you guys, and this is going to be my 5th. Originally there were going to be only 4, but I realized after I finished the 3rd or 4th one, I had made a mistake in one of the previous ones, and I really did not want to completely frog it. So I was saying, you know what, I'm just going to leave it as it is. It doesn't look that bad. It's just sort of like puffing up in the middle like a dome. It might it might block out. So I'm going to see how that turns out, and I'm just going to make another one, a 5th one, because I don't want to just say, you know, here is a mistake in a doily, live with it. I mean, I could, but I don't really want to, so I'm going to make a 5th one just in case someone has a problem with the doily that does have a mistake. So my 5th one, probably gonna get it done with soon, and then I will show you guys the set. I'm not going to show you guys the set at this point because I think it would get pretty boring pretty soon if I just showed you basically the same doily over and over for every single episode. It's like, no, I've already seen that before. I don't need to see it again. But yeah, so I have 2 larger doilies, and I am going to have 5 smaller doilies. And after I show you guys, I am going to give it to its recipient. Alright. This next one isn't a work in progress. It is a hibernating project. So if you remember from maybe the last 2 podcasts, I told you guys that I was going to make a hat for one of my friends. It was supposed to be her Christmas present, if you guys remember. And I said that I was going to start working on it soon, but I haven't. It's gone into hibernation. I'm just not feeling motivated to work on it at all. So I tucked away the ball of yarn, and I'll get to it eventually. I'm planning for sometime before August. That seems like a while, but honestly at this point I'm not really between being busy and not being motivated to work on it, I'm really not sure that I would be able to finish it before August. And I could just say that it's going to be a present for next year because my friend doesn't know about it yet, but I really don't want to do that. I want for it to be a present from Christmas 2015. So it's going to be a very, very belated Christmas present. So I don't know, maybe in July, if I get it finished in July and give it to her, it'll be a Christmas in July sort of present. So finished objects. Like I said just a few minutes ago, I finished 2 doilies, 2 smaller doilies, and I am going to say that my link scarf that I'm having so much trouble with, I'm gonna say that it's a finished object, because honestly if I don't, I am going to go insane. I have been working on this to the extent of excluding all other projects. Since the last time I recorded, I did some doilies, but that was because I was taking a long bus ride somewhere, and so I had the time to crochet on the bust, and I actually managed to get it done that way. But for everything else, I have been working on that scarf, and if I don't say that it's a finished object, then I'm just gonna keep thinking that I have to work on it, and if I keep working on it, I'm going to go insane. So the scarf is a finished object. That's all the things I have for things that are on and off the needles. Next thing I have to show you guys is all the stuff that I have in the stash. So apparently my stash has grown to the point where I have started forgetting what yarns I have, which I think is a good sign for me to stop buying yarn. Because like I've told you guys before, I am a person that does not buy yarn for the sake of buying yarn. I am a person who prefers to buy yarn in order to use it in a project. So some of the yarns actually do not have a project lined up because they were internet purchases and I didn't like how they looked when I finally saw them in person. The first one that I have to show you this time that falls under that category is this Baby Bernat Big Sport in the Citrus Sorbet colorway. When I saw this online, the colors were not as vibrant as they are in person. They were a little bit more muted. And when I got it, I just did not really like how vibrant the colors were. And then also I didn't realize that there was this sort of grayish brown color in there as well. I thought it was just green, orange, and white. So I was going to make something with it. I think maybe a scarf or something. But because this is not a colorway that I like, I just decided, you know, I'm not going to do that. But now it's sitting around. I don't really want it to sit around, especially since I don't actually like this. So I am hoping to make something like a baby blanket or a plushie with it. And I think this is a good size. I've used a little bit of it to make like slippers, which did not turn out well. But yeah, I used up a little bit, but I think I still have enough to make a decently sized baby blanket. So I might do that. I don't have a baby. Some of my friends have babies, I think, and some of my friends' friends have babies. So I might give it to one of them after I'm done with this. The next yarn that I have to show you guys also is the same thing. It's something that I bought online and didn't realize what it really looked like until I got here. And then it turned out to be a lot more vibrant than I would like for a yarn. So this is Red Heart Super Saver in French Country. When I saw it online, the colors were a lot more muted. And I didn't realize that the yellow, especially the yellow, I didn't realize the yellow would be so vibrant. I think I wouldn't mind it so much, except for the yellow. And after I got it, I was gonna make a scarf for myself, I think, with this, because scarves are my thing. I was gonna make a scarf for myself with this, I think, but I was just like, no, I'm not really a fan of that yellow. And it's really strange because you might notice that this matches my shirt, but I guess, I don't know, just the way that variegated yarn knits up, you know how it usually goes in stripes. I'm not really a fan of that, which is why I prefer solid colors or tonal colors. So this turned out to be something that I'm not really a fan of. I'm thinking that I might make a plushie with this because this is way too small to become even a baby blanket, I think. So I'm thinking a plushie. Maybe a few bluebirds of happiness or a very strangely colored pig or something like that. Yeah, I do have some stuffing left over and I can use it for that purpose. So this is these two. I'm hoping to use them up soon so that they aren't sticking around reminding me of my regretful purchases. Recently, so last time I told you guys that I was interested in learning how to knit socks, and to that purpose, or to that end, I have bought some US size 1 2.25 millimeter needle, double pointed needles. These are Susan Bates, as you can probably see. I got them from my local Joann store. And of course, you guys might remember that I do not like boy needles. Boy needles absolutely drive me nuts because they are so blunt. And I think that these Susan Bates are pretty good for the amount of money that you have to pay for it. I think this was, I don't know, less than $6. But then Joann's has really good coupons, so I had a 50% off coupon and I got this for like, I don't know, $3 or $4, which was pretty awesome. Yeah, so I would start trying to knit socks. However, as I've just told you, I do have what I consider to be a yarn surplus here. So after I use up some of that yarn, I will consider buying some yarn that's more appropriate for socks. And the last thing I have to show you guys for a stash is something that makes me really happy. It's something I have been looking for a really long time, I would say. Maybe it just seems like a really long time to me because of the disappointment. But I have told you guys about this before. I have told you guys about how I couldn't find it. And can you guess what it is? They are the link buttons that I showed you guys in episode 1. I am so happy to have found these. So when I went to Joann's to buy the double pointed needles that I showed you just now, I went walking around in the button section hoping to find, a suitable alternative to these buttons. But when I was walking through, I happened to look down and I saw these. So obviously, I instantly grabbed up all of them that were there, and I was so excited. I don't know how I restrained myself and refrained from making a fool out of myself in that store, because I was really excited to see this. And I say that about all of them, but there is only 3, so I didn't go quite as crazy as it sounds I did. So these are the bell buttons by Dritz, and this is item number BB163. As you can see over here, the original price is about $4. However, when I went there, there was a 50% off on buttons. So I was super excited that these buttons are only like $2 a piece, which might not be, considered a cheap price for a button, but given how long I've been looking for this and how much it fits my project, I think $2 was a good price to pay for it. I was just really happy that I found something that just suited my project as well as this one does. I mean, even if it wasn't this button, I think I still would have been happy if I found something else that worked, because it is so hard to find something with all these qualities, which is that it's a large, square, silver, metallic button that is also a shank button. Because there were some, there were some buttons, but they were small, or they weren't shank buttons. There was actually a button that was about this size, a little bit thinner, not quite as heavy, but it wasn't a shank button, and I would have used that one, but I didn't know what I would do because it wasn't a shank button. But now that I have these, I am extremely happy that I'm not going to have to worry about, how to fasten the scarf if and when I do finish it. Alright, well, that's it for stash. If you guys are not interested in seeing the presents that I want to show you guys, you can stop the video right now and I'll say bye to you if you're leaving. If you are interested in sticking around and seeing what I got for my presents, then we'll get started right now. So I showed this teacup to you last time, but I was in such a rush because my camera was going to run out of battery. I didn't realize that the camera didn't go into focus. So here's the saucer of the set. It's got a really nice sort of wheat pattern on it, and it's got a gold trim. And here is the teacup. And I really, really like how it's sort of this simple pattern rather than something that's a little bit more busy. Because when I have my tea, I think sometimes I really do want to sort of have a calm moment when I'm drinking my tea, and having this simple pattern helps me out, I think. As opposed to something like, I think it's Royal Albert and their Country Roses pattern. That one's very busy, not only in the colors and design, but also the shape of the cup. This one didn't show up on the last episode. It got cut off when the memory ran out, I think, or something like that. This is something that So this is something that Camilla made me, one of the things that she gave me for my Christmas present. It's a journal, and it's got this beautiful blue cover on it with these flowers and vines. It's sort of a little bit rubbery, the texture of it. It's not just paper, I think. And then on the inside, there's this design, and you might notice that even though it looks a bit globby, I guess, on first appearance, it's actually sort of like flowers and leaves. So down here you can see the flowers, and I think somewhere up here you can see some leaves if you look hard enough. And on this paper, it feels sort of chalky, in my opinion. So that's a really interesting contrast of textures. And then if I flip this open, you will see that there are leaves all over the pages. I was actually thinking about using this journal to use to write all my show notes in to reference while I'm podcasting, but I really liked these leaves and I wanted to use it for something else. I'm not quite sure what, but I wanted to save it for something special. So I decided not to use this journal to write my show notes in. And that's the first one. The second one showed up in the last episode, but I think I ran through it pretty quick. So it's this one. I really love the texture of this. I have no idea how to describe it, but it's sort of just the right amount of give, I guess. But there's this awesome sort of tan, white, and gold pattern on the cover. and then on the inside there's these gold dots on blue background. And all this blue is because Camilla knows that I do like blue quite a bit. And then on the inside, it's plain white paper, but I find that it's actually really useful for when I'm writing my notes. So I really enjoy having these journals. My friend, for my birthday, she also got me this second set, and it's actually really interesting because I was at the store that she got it from, and then I had actually been considering buying this for myself, but I decided not to eventually. But she saw this and she bought it for me. And here's the saucer. And here's the teacup. The shape of this teacup is actually something else that I find to be very pleasing in terms of its shape. Very aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, this set is also another that I have been using a lot ever since I got it, even though I did get it fairly recently. But yeah. And then the last, well, not the last, but second to last. I hope I don't have any tea on my lips. But yeah, second to last thing that I have to show you is my friend who gave me that teacup. She knows that I like tea, and then she bought me some tea from Tivana, and for those of you who know Tivana, that place is extremely expensive. But she got me some tea, and it's white Ayurvedic. I don't know how to pronounce that. Chai white tea. And she got me the tea in this very nice little bottle. I'm not really sure where she got the bottle. I don't know if it comes like that if you buy it, but I thought it's just very nice packaging. And then on the other side of the label, she put, I'm not sure if it was her, but someone put this little bill on there. And I just think it's really cute. It says happy birthday on the top. I'm looking forward to trying this tea out. I don't think I've ever had chai before, but I keep on hearing people say that chai is a really tasty tea, but I have been planning on making the chai, but I don't have any milk at the moment, and I haven't had the time to go out and buy some milk, but when I do, I'm gonna be making a cup. Alright, so my camera's running out of battery again. I'll keep this last thing that I have to show you guys for the next episode, which again will be in April. Just to let you guys know, if there is something like that where I have to skip an episode or some other announcement, I will try to put that up on the Ravelry group. So if I don't podcast or if I forget to mention something, it'll be on there. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it enough to come back for the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.